Meet Maewnam, a timid and insecure teenage girl who constantly conceals her face with a box. Her struggle stems from a unique condition that breeds self-loathing for her own appearance. In her mind, she believes herself to be the most unattractive person on earth, necessitating her seclusion. Remarkably, she hasn't glimpsed her own reflection in a mirror for over 3 years and has hardly ventured outside her home. Maewnam shares her residence with her younger brother, Plon, and her father, Mr. Bon, who are persistently concerned about her well-being. One evening, Plon returns home with an injured elbow and confesses to shoplifting to evade trouble. In a desperate attempt to divert their father's attention from his own wrongdoing, Plon labels his sister as a psycho due to her condition. Maewnam also grapples with frequent panic attacks and breathing difficulties when anxiety strikes. Plon's comment exacerbates her struggles, making it arduous for her to breathe. Fortunately, Mr. Bon, who has grown accustomed to her reactions over the years, helps her regain composure. Maewnam proceeds to recount her life story in her blog, explaining the transformation from a confident, socially active girl into her current state as an ugly duckling. Surprisingly, for the initial 13 years of her life, Maewnam lived like any other typical person, complete with friends and a robust social life. However, her life took a downturn in middle school when she developed an infatuation for the most handsome boy in her class. Driven by her infatuation, she made a public declaration of her love, only to face rejection. The boy not only dismissed her affections but also cruelly deemed her the ugliest girl ever, instructing her to obscure her face with a bag. Regrettably, her classmates joined in, echoing the boy's taunts, subjecting Maewnam to unbearable humiliation. This traumatic incident led her to isolate herself from everyone around her, vehemently refusing to return to school. Despite Mr. Bon's unwavering efforts to persuade her otherwise, he eventually relented, recognizing the severity of her distress, and allowed her to be homeschooled. In the aftermath of the incident, Maewnam avoided mirrors for an entire year and rarely ventured beyond the confines of her home, until one fateful day when she found herself outdoors, attempting to retrieve a stuck balloon. An unexpected encounter with a stranger prompted her to immediately shroud her face with a paper bag. Astonishingly, she found solace in this act, feeling most confident when her face remained concealed. The sensation of the bag's presence was strangely comforting, akin to finding a soulmate. From that day forward, she never revealed her face to anyone, eventually replacing the bag with a sturdier box. Her family occasionally caught glimpses of her face, but Maewnam preferred to remain hidden, even from them. She reserved her true self for her online interactions, embracing the anonymity of social media where appearances were irrelevant. One day, Mr. Bon consulted a doctor in the hopes of finding a quick cure for Maewnam's condition. To his surprise, the doctor explained that her ailment wasn't an illness but rather a peculiar condition known as hikikomori, which is renowned in Japan, typically afflicting adolescents or young adults. Hikikomori involves isolation from the world, with individuals often confined to their rooms for extended periods, avoiding communication. The doctor reassured Mr. Bon that Maewnam's case wasn't as severe since she still engaged with her family. This offered a glimmer of hope for her potential social reintegration, provided she could overcome her fear of leaving home. The doctor advised Mr. Bon to act promptly before Maewnam withdrew from her family entirely. At mealtimes, Maewnam resorted to using a straw, adamantly refusing to remove the box from her head. During one particularly tense dinner, Mr. Bon's heavy-hearted voice compelled his children to listen attentively, despite speculations about his health or personal life. Mr. Bon revealed his determination to send Maewnam back to school alongside her brothers. Beginning the following day, Maewnam dismissed this as a joke and retaliated as expected. However, this time, her father stood resolute, unwavering in his decision, even surprising Plon with his unyielding determination. Frustrated and angry, Maewnam declared her hatred for her father and retreated to her room. For the next hour, she wept anxiously, dreading the upcoming school day, convinced that ridicule awaited her due to the box. Nevertheless, she preferred this form of mistreatment to the label of ugly. In a heartwarming gesture, Plon provided her with a new box to replace the old one and offered to help decorate it. The following morning, Mr. Bon drove his children to school. Plon exited the car and walked in confidently. Meanwhile, Maewnam began to hyperventilate beneath her box. To calm her, Mr. Bond played soothing music and encouraged her to enter the school. She offered an apology for her previous unkind words, thanking her father for attempting to help her. Summoning her resolve, she finally stepped into the school, her conspicuous box drawing curious gazes. As laughter erupted around her, Maewnam's panic escalated, triggered by haunting memories of past humiliations. She felt dizzy and on the brink of fainting. Just in time, a kind stranger approached, sporting a helmet that provided some semblance of comfort. The stranger introduced themselves as Minton, easing her anxiety momentarily. However, overwhelmed by nervousness, Maewnam fled the scene, inadvertently colliding with Zero, the school's most popular student, and his friends. Their curiosity piqued. They demanded she remove the box, but she adamantly refused. Matters escalated as they attempted to forcibly unveil her face. The situation only abetted when Minton intervened, revealing his own face beneath his helmet. The tension between Minton and Zero simmered, leading them to resolve their differences outside of school. Minton, taking Maewnam by the hand, led her away from the confrontation. Subsequently, Maewnam found herself standing nervously in front of her class, where the teacher, aware of her condition, implored the students to respect her privacy. However, being typical teenagers, some resorted to bullying, pressuring her to reveal her face. Minton, who shared her class, grew incensed by his classmates' cruelty. Maewnam retreated to the back of the classroom, keeping her head bowed. During lunch, she sought her brother but couldn't locate him amid the relentless stares and hushed conversations about her. A pair of boys confronted her as she ate with the box on her head, coercing her to remove it. The onlookers, instead of offering assistance, laughed along. Unable to bear the torment, Maewnam abandoned her meal, fleeing outside in tears. Alone in the playground, she encountered Minton once more, this time bearing his helmet, which he assured her was unrelated to her box. Minton extended an act of kindness, sharing his sandwich with her. This simple gesture eased her discomfort, paving the way for more comfortable conversation. They shared jokes and laughter, yet Maewnam declared her intention to skip school the following day. Determined to be her friend, Minton implored her to reconsider, even if just for him. After school, as per their agreement, Minton and Zero engaged in a verbal confrontation that quickly escalated into a physical altercation. The commotion unfolded as Maewnam ventured home. Witnessing the brawl, she found herself inexplicably drawn to it, until the arrival of the police forced the fighters to separate. As Zero left the scene, he impulsively pulled Maewnam along with him to a secluded area. There, in a climactic moment, he removed her box, laying eyes on her face for the first time. His stunned silence left Maewnam believing he was repulsed by her, triggering traumatic memories and causing her to lose consciousness. Upon awakening in a hospital bed, bereft of her box, Maewnam experienced a renewed panic. To soothe her, medical staff provided a face mask, and her father expressed deep regret for compelling her to attend school. Holding himself responsible for her hospitalization, he agreed to let her stay home as she wished, surprising everyone. However, Maewnam astounded them further by declaring her intent to return to school, driven by a desire for vengeance against Zero for forcibly unveiling her face. The subsequent day, Maewnam encountered an unexpectedly supportive environment at school. Those students stared and gossiped. It was not mockery but admiration they expressed for her beauty. With newfound courage, Maewnam embraced this moment as an opportunity for a fresh start, replete with the confidence she had lacked for years. In the days that followed, Maewnam continued to navigate her new reality, steadfastly refusing to don her box. The positive comments she discovered online, along with an image posted on the school's page, finally convinced her that she was, indeed, beautiful. For the first time in over 3 years, she summoned the courage to look at herself in a mirror and was met with a revelation: her true beauty. Buoyed by this newfound self-assuredness, Maewnam returned to school without her box, fully aware of the admiring gazes that met her. Despite initial apprehension, she embarked on a journey toward a life filled with confidence that she had never before experienced.